Welcome to another episode of the Muddy Waters YouTube series and podcast. I'm your host, Philip Macko, five-time published author. Today's episode is about social engineering. Cybercrime gang Cylance began their attack with non-malware emails that they sent out to a targeted financial institution. And these appeared to be just harmless, bulk emails, spam emails. But fortunately for Cylance, and unfortunately for the financial institution, several employees took action on those emails. They opened links, and again, nothing super malicious, but what it enabled them to do, this gang Cylance, is to begin to collect information about staff members, employees. And then they took a long pause. And it's very common in these types of attacks when, look, human nature, you receive an email, you take an action on it, nothing happens. Weeks later, you forget about the whole incident, right? It's this effect of recency. And very common for cyber criminals to take their first action and then to press the pause button and wait long enough that that recency effect disappears. But when they felt the time was right, when they collected enough information, they then sent additional emails. So now they sent a number of very targeted emails to those employees whose data and information they had some access to. Unfortunately for the financial institution, one of the employees took action on that email, which then placed malware on the entire financial institution's infrastructure. And over the course of only 3 months, the Cylance Group was able to secure over $3 million from that bank. That wasn't their only attack. That was probably their largest. All across Eastern Europe, they were able to infiltrate other organizations using similar techniques. In those cases, hundreds of thousands. But for a small and medium business, that can make a huge difference. And for a bank, $3 million is a big credibility hit, right? According to Verizon's 2024 data breach report, it recorded over 3,300 attacks on financial institutions and insurance organizations alone, with 1,115 successful attacks. Think about that. That's 1 in every 3. What is social engineering? It's a term that refers to techniques used by criminals to extort a person's trust in order to obtain either money or personal information. There are 5 main categories of social engineering attacks. The first, and you can see by my gray here, 62 years old as I speak to you today. And all of us can remember that have a few years behind us, those email phishing attacks, right? The Nigerian prince scam, there's a number of them. And criminals have gotten so much more sophisticated. So beyond those phishing email attacks, which still exist, my goodness, about 4 or 5 months ago, I received an email from QuickBooks. I am a QuickBooks subscriber, so I received this email from QuickBooks. The only thing was, it wasn't a capital B for books, it was the number 8. And had I not have looked very carefully, the email said that my account had been hacked. It was asking me to log in with my credentials and reset my password for my own safety. Yeah, I didn't fall for it, needless to say. But that's an example of a traditional phishing email attack. But it's gotten more sophisticated. Now there are derivatives of phishing. The first being vishing. Vishing is a voice and or video scam. And great example of that, not a great example, a terrible example of this. There was a couple in Pennsylvania who received a call from a detective saying, "We've arrested your daughter. Um, Your daughter's in jail right now, and I'm going to put her on the phone in just a minute, but if you want to get her out, you need to post some bail. So they put on what sounded to this couple like their daughter. It was an exact AI replication of their daughter, including emotions. She was crying on the phone. The couple said after the attack, we know how our daughter sounds. We know what she sounds like when she's under stress, when she's crying. This sounded exactly like her. So the next day they got a call from an attorney, quote unquote, and the attorney said, again, quote unquote, the attorney said, I need $17,000 cash and I can post bail. A courier showed up at their house an hour later. They'd withdrawn $17,000 from their bank account, handed it over to the courier. They got a call about an hour later saying, that's not going to be enough, we need another $17,000. They went back to the bank, got an additional $17,000, gave it to a second courier. And then they got a phone call from their son-in-law. And obviously and clearly, you know where this is going, the daughter wasn't in jail. This was all a scam, right? So that's an example of vishing. Smishing is using SMS or text messages to infiltrate. And, you know, it's going to come from a financial institution, from Best Buy or Apple, big box retailer. It's going to say something like this. Maybe it's FedEx. Your package, we can't deliver your package, so you need to click this link and verify your address. We've all seen these attacks as well. So first type is phishing and all its derivatives. The second type is quid pro quo social engineering. And this occurs when, just picking this randomly, right? You get an outreach from a technician at the Geek Squad, which is part of Best Buy, right? Maybe you have a Geek Squad account for your computer and you get this message saying, your system's been compromised. If you give me your password, I can get into the system and undo what the hackers are trying to do, but I need you to do something. Quid pro quo literally means something for something. So in order for them to help you, first of all, there has to be an issue they're reaching out to you about. And in order for them to help you, you have to take some level of action. You have to do something, right? So in context to quid pro quo is spoofing. And that's where scammers pretend to be someone legitimately. Now remember all the data breaches I spoke about in a previous episode. Just millions and millions and millions of records. I think off the top of my head, 26 million were stolen in about a 6-week period. They may already know that you have an account with Best Buy. They may already know that you bank with Wells Fargo. They may not have your banking account information, but they know the account exists. This kind of stuff is sold on the dark web, and it's getting sizable dollars. In fact, Warren Buffett once said if he wasn't in investment today, he would be stealing data and selling it on the dark web. That's how lucrative it is. So they reach out to you from Geek Squad, and they appear to be legitimate. In my case, QuickBooks reached out to me because my account had been hacked, right? So that's an example of spoofing. The fourth type of social engineering attack is called pretexting, and it's not pre-texting, nothing to do with smishing. Pretext, as in connotations behind something. What law enforcement refers to as sock puppet accounts. And what that means is fake identities, compelling backstories, and a convincing narrative that they use to gain your trust before attempting to take something from you, information, money, whatever it may be. So remember that term, sock puppet account. And the final type we'll talk about is business email compromise. As an example, I consulted for a company about 30 years ago, and that company hired a technology expert to come on staff and manage their systems. And within the first week of that employee joining the company, he got an email from, and it was a spoof email from the CEO of the company saying, hey, we're doing an event and I need you to go out and buy $1,000 worth of gift cards. Well, guess what? It was a spoofed email. It was not from the CEO, obviously, and this person had been scammed out of $1,000. And so those compromised emails can either be legitimately hacked or they're spoofed. In either case, that is the fifth technique for social engineering, is to appear to be someone credible and to have spoofed their email address or actually hacked their email address. Um, and listen, I wanted to run through all 5 of these because on a coming episode, which I'll be posting in a few days, I'm going to do an interview with a cybersecurity expert, a gentleman named Dave Dashent. Dave has been in CIO, Chief Information Officer roles for over 2 decades, and he will get into how to protect yourself from social engineering attacks, what you need to know about them, what systems, processes, and technologies can be put into place to protect you and potentially your company from bad actors. So I hope you got something from this episode. I hope you'll tune in on the next one because these two work hand in hand together, and you're going to get a lot of good insights from Dave in the interview coming up, which again is going to post in a couple days. Again, my name is Philip Macko. I'm the host of the Muddy Waters YouTube and podcast series. I want to thank you for joining me today. If you haven't done so already, please click the thumbs up button. Please like, please subscribe, and please share this with others who may benefit from what was discussed today, because the whole goal of Muddy Waters is to help you stay safe. And once you know, you know. So recording this on Memorial Day, I'm going to post it on Memorial Day as well. I hope you're having an excellent one. I hope it involves family and maybe a barbecue. Going to be hamburgers for me today. But thank you for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Have an excellent day.